Warning: the following program may contain material not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Far of depths unknown, our voice begins to rise, breaking through the noise with fire in its eyes. The spirit of adventure burning ever bright. Hold on tight, travelers, it's gonna be alright. Another week burning, halfway to the end. Bonus Overdrive, attend the tears ascend. Bonus Overdrive, Wednesday night is here. Shatter the silence, conquer all your fear. Bonus Overdrive, the angels gonna scream. With Diego at the wheel, living out a dream.
It's time to find out with Diego. Let's go. Ooh, yeah.
On this episode of Bonus Overdrive Wednesday, from a single high school English class assignment to a lifetime of terror, our guest discovered his passion for horror when his teacher asked him to read his very first chilling story to the class. The room was hooked and a horror writer was born. He's now a proud member of the Florida Chapter's Horror Writers Association. All this plus more. Please welcome our new friend and first-time guest, author of the book Zombie Mom, Eddie J. Morales. Eddie, my friend, welcome to Bonus Overdrive Wednesday.
Hey Diego, thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, man. I actually, for the listeners that don't know, you and I met over at Fright Reads in Maryland about 3 months ago at this point.
Yes.
And man, what an event that was. So many people were there, and unfortunately we didn't have that much time to have a conversation because there was a lot of coming and going with people going to the tables, and then so we had to keep our conversation short. But how did that event go for you? Because it was, like I said, a super huge event.
Well, it went very well. It was my first time there. I met a lot of readers and authors and podcaster like you. And I did well with my book sellings. So it was my first time going to Maryland. So I had a good time because I'm coming from Florida.
Yeah, we were just talking about that's quite a distance. It's got to be at least what? I'm gonna guesstimate Maryland, where you were in Maryland. I'm gonna say 12, 13 hours.
About 15. Yeah, you're correct.
All right, 15. And so I know you're probably accustomed, this has nothing to do with your book, but I'm sorry, I get sidetracked. You're probably accustomed to food from the deep South. So you're moving up a little bit further north. How did you find the food up there? Did you try anything new?
No, not really, because originally I'm from New Jersey, so I used to come down to Baltimore Harbor to. I love crab legs, so I used to go there and crab cakes and all that. So it was nice to be back up there and having this kind of food.
True. And if anything, my brother, there's a Waffle House in any state you go to. So
That's
we
true.
all have that in common. So no, so perfect. So let's do something here, if you don't mind, because I find this very fascinating how somebody's journey begins as an author. If you can go back in time, we're gonna take that DeLorean from Brian Paoni's DeLorean. We're gonna go back in time,
Okay.
and at that specific moment when you had that assignment in high school, do you remember what it is that you read to the class? What you wrote?
Oh yes, that always stayed in my mind, and it was a story called "The House of Death," and I included that story in my first book, Dreaded Tales. A short story collection is in there, and I wrote about it. I wrote the story. I edited because I wrote it back in the 70s. I'm just dating myself now. So I wrote the story for the class. The teacher read it. She gave me an A+, and then she said if I would like to read it in front of the class. And the shy person that I am, I'm like, no, not really. So, but she convinced me in the end, and I did read it. and the class stood up and started clapping at the end, and that was the beginning of my career. I wanted to be a writer then.
Right at that moment, lightning struck. Now, what was life before that? Were you into anything else? Because I know at that age I was into, you know, music. I was into messing around, getting in trouble, and sometimes at that age you gotta really find an outlet to keep you under control, sort of say. So, what was going on before that? Were you a fan of horror already? Were you watching sci-fi? What kind of cartoons were you watching?
Actually, I was a fan of horror. I remember watching a show called Chiller with my mom on Saturdays, and they have a horror movies every Saturday. So I used to sit with my mom and watch them. So I'm also a fan of music. So I was also when I was back in the 80s and 90s, I was actually a DJ. So like for private parties and stuff. So I did DJing for private parties, and I would go home and write. Back then, it was on a typewriter.
I remember that. I used to use a typewriter as well. When
Yeah.
I was in my younger years, I used to type out a fanzine for music and review demos and have some band interviews. But you had to write, you had to learn all the tricks because if you made a spelling mistake, you ever do that trick on the daisy wheel where you take a piece of scotch tape and then you got to go back a little bit and hit it and then kind of would the tape would
Yes.
kind of oh my goodness.
Yeah. That was before whiteout.
Yeah, and then you have to wait for that. If you use whiteout, you have to wait for that thing to dry because if you start typing it, it would just really mess you up.
Yep.
So we're definitely dating ourselves, man. So
I know that first story, The House of Death. I still have it. The paper turned yellow by now, but I still have the original.
that's amazing. And
It's one of the few things that I have kept from my childhood.
yeah, yeah, same thing. I just did some spring cleaning the other day, and I found some. I found some old GI Joes and Transformers hidden somewhere, and they say it's worth money, but they're already open and out of the box, and I can't find the guns and the weapons, so probably
Oh,
worthless at this point. But it's good to have these little things that influence your life down the road. So at that moment, you decided you wanted to be an author, start writing. Where did you really dedicate your time, and when did you write your first book?
okay. So throughout the years, I went to college and I got a creative writing degree in English, and then so during the college, I wrote more stories. So I kept keeping them, putting them together, and it wasn't until 2018 that I started putting them into a book. And then I said, "Oh, I have enough to do my first book." So that's when I published in 2019, Dreaded Tales, and it has 13 of my first short stories that I wrote, including the first one.
That's quite a gap in time, my friend, from high school to writing your first book in 2016. What was going on? I know you said you were a DJ at the time. Were you writing things like stories and then tucking them away somewhere?
Yes,
Uh, well,
because I worked in healthcare, so during the day I was working, 9 to 5 or whatever, and then on the weekends, as a hobby, just write stories and just keeping them safe somewhere for a future.
and normally that's actually a lot of things that were advised to me whenever you get an idea, just write it down. Eventually down the road, you're going to use those notes or those pages. And it eventually, of course, like for you, became a book.
Mhm.
And during the time when you were younger, because we talked about the kind of shows or TV shows you were watching at the time, what kind of books were you reading at the time? Because you're a fan of horror, 70s and 80s, I'm going to say it's the king of horror time, but there's a lot of horror going on at the time with movies as well.
Yes, I was reading my first novel that I read was Jaws, and that one petrified me.
Oh, yeah.
so, so I read the Amityville Horror. I read that one. So all those horror books from the 70s, The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, so stuff like that.
I could imagine because I know by the time books get turned into movies, They're very different. I'm thinking that the books were far more terrifying than the actual movie itself.
Yes, they are. Especially Amityville Horror. The book was so terrifying. When I watched the movie, I'm like, this is nothing like the book.
Yeah, and there's like 15 sequels to the Amityville
Yes.
franchise. I think I've seen them all.
Yeah, oh my goodness, they're getting ridiculous.
Yeah, but I guess we get what we pay for, and we still, even if it's bad, it's good. Just like any kind of movie. Especially me, I'm a sci-fi nerd, so and I do watch some horror as well.
That's true.
So you did a collection of short stories as your first book. Let's talk about your second book. Is now how many books have you written so far?
5. So the second book is Dreaded Tales 2. So it continues with my short stories. And that one has 8 short stories, but they're longer than the other ones. And then after that, I wrote Haunted by Life. It's a paranormal coming of age story. And that one is very special because it's about this boy in Puerto Rico. And I'm from Puerto Rico, so I was born in Puerto Rico. So this boy in Puerto Rico growing up, and he's being haunted by ghosts, him and his family. And then they move to New Jersey, and the ghost follows them there. So the stories that the boy went through in Puerto Rico, they happened to me, but without the ghosts. So I added the ghosts just to make it a scary story. So a lot of stuff that you read, my grandma or aunt or whatever, those are basically true. So it's about 90% true, and then I added the ghost.
That's exciting. Now, I was born there too, very long ago. And I know you've heard this one. El Cuco.
Oh yes, el cuco te va a comer. Yeah, the cuckoo's gonna come get you.
Yeah, I believed it though. I know if the whippings didn't get me, you tell me that story, I'll start acting right.
Yeah. So in my book, I have a lot of sayings that my mother used to say in Spanish. So I wrote them in Spanish, and then I translated them in English. That way, everybody knows what she's talking about. But Puerto Ricans find it very interesting when they read the book. They're like, "Oh my God, that brings my childhood back to mine." So I really love that book. And then after that, I wrote The Exorcism of Eve, which is a take on The Exorcist versus Rosemary's Baby. So I love those 2 movies. So I said, well, let me do with my own twist. So I combined them and did my own story. So, and then after that is the new one, Zombie Mom.
Zombie Mom. I'm a fan of the cover of the book, which will be when I release this episode. It'll definitely be on the thumbnail, and definitely check it out. I'll have the links for the book as well. Zombies. Everybody loves zombies, man. I grew up watching zombie movies. Mostly, I think I became a fan of the zombie movies in the 80s, but back then, it depends. So I'm going to ask you this question about zombies. I'm going to move on to the book. What's your favorite type of zombie? Do you like the slow walking ones that keep saying brains, or you like them fast running ones?
Oh, I'm back to George Romero, the slow ones.
Yeah.
When you read my zombie stories, they're all slow. I can't. And I watched the new movies with the fast zombies, but I mean, really, I guess they had to do something. But I'm a fan of the slow moving ones. Like I have, I think it's 3 or 4 stories in short stories with zombies, and they're all slow. None of my zombies rhyme or anything like that, and they don't talk either, except for Zombie Mom.
Well, let's talk about Zombie Mom. The front cover gives you pretty much a glimpse of what's going on inside that book. How did you come up with the concept of Zombie Mom?
Well, I love zombie movies, zombie shows. I'm a big fan of the Walking Dead universe. So I wanted to write something that was different than what I see on television and what I see in the movies. So I wanted to write about a story about my mom, how she was so protective of of her sons. I have two other brothers, and I wanted to combine that with a baby that became a zombie. So it's motherly love protecting her son, which happens to be a zombie.
Now, being a fan of the zombie movies, are there any? And I know we talked about George Romero, but are there any other ones that stick out? I know we talked Walking Dead. I'm a big fan of that, and I watched all the I'm gonna say sequels, but all the flankers from it recently. Are there
Yeah,
any other ones that stick out to you?
I love the series C Nation. That's a very good series about zombies. And movies, I like Dawn of the Dead, but I like the remake in 2004. That's one of the best zombie remakes I ever seen. And Zombieland is another one that I love. There's so many. Return of the Living Dead. I mean, anything that's zombies, I'm there.
It's one of those things about zombie movies, or when you read books about zombies. The author or the directors and producers always have a real good way, at least for me. I always look and see what would I do in those times because we're talking about fast moving zombies and slow moving zombies. If they're fast moving zombies, I'd be dead. It'd be so quick. I can at least outrun a slow walking one, but the fast ones, I'm done.
Yeah. So we were speaking about Zombie Mom, and in the book, the woman, she doesn't know that she's pregnant with a zombie baby until she has the baby. So then after that, she's like petrified. Of course, she just had a zombie baby, so she's scared of him. But then they have a bond of mom and son. So later on, because she got infected, she started turning into a zombie also. So, but she was not a full zombie, and then she was able to talk to other zombies, kind of with her mind, not with her mind, but with sounds, and then started with words. So she was like almost in charge. She was trying to create an army to protect her child and from the government, because the government is trying to get her and get her the zombie boy and her captured for experiments. So she had to do anything she can. At the beginning, she had to feed the baby, and the baby would not eat anything except if it was from humans. So she had to be creative. So
Wow.
it's a great story because she could turn into a zombie whenever she wants, and then that's one of the great things about the book, that it's kind of different from what you see in the movies and stuff, because it all depends on how she's feeling. If she's feeling threatened or her baby's threatened, she could turn into a full zombie and then turn back when she's dealing with other humans.
So,
So
kind of in a way, it's kind of almost like a superpower they could turn on and off.
yes, it's like a super sci-fi super fi She has like three levels, I call them. So she could
And
be normal, like a normal woman walking by, but and talking and everything, and then she could get in the middle. She looks deathly, but she's also human and she talks, and then she could turn into a full zombie, and that's when you got to watch out.
well, absolutely. Now, a fresh take into zombie storytelling, my friend. There. Now, how long ago did the book come out?
It came out July 3rd of this year.
And now that we're in November, which poses the question, how has the book been received so far? It seems like people have had a few months now to read and digest the book. How's the feedback been?
Yes, the feedback has been great. It has, out of my 5 books, this is my best selling so far. It hit Amazon on number 8 under horror fiction 1 week, and I was ecstatic. So it's my best-selling book so far, and it has a great feedback. People are loving it. They loved the relationship between her and her zombie baby, and it's very good. So I'm very proud of it.
Which then the follow-up question to that is, are you going to continue writing zombie books?
Yes, I am. I'm going to be doing more short stories because I love writing short stories, zombies, and hopefully in the future, people have been asking me, would there be a zombie mom too? So I'm probably will do zombie mom too because of the way it ends. People want more from her.
I mean, if the fans like it, you got to keep giving them more zombie mom. And now let's talk about the cover here. I'm going to pull it up. Nobody can see it. It'll be just on my side, but it covers very well done. Did you come up with the concept of the artwork, and who did you commission to do it, or did you do the artwork?
The artist, he's from actually from the UK. So I was looking at some of his work. He does horror and other covers, and I kept looking at this one that he had. And one day I said, you know what? I'm gonna write Zombie Mom because of the title came because of the graphic, and then he turned it the way I wanted it, like the color, the background color, and the lettering and all that. That was me. But I told him to choose the coloring that it is now. And his name is James Go On Right, and he's from the UK.
That baby's terrifying, man.
And
Yeah,
he is terrified, and he has a great scenes in the book.
that is some serious zombie going on there, man. No, I love it. I love everything about what you're doing, and I know we're gonna stay with on track with zombie stories now, because I also know, as mentioned earlier, you're a member of the Horror Writers Association, the Florida chapter. Now, being a member of that group, how has being a part of the community helped you grow as a writer? What do you when you get together with the rest of them? What do y'all talk about, and how does that help you as an author?
Oh, being part of that group, it has been a lifesaver. It's like almost like a therapy kind of, because you make new friends, and every month we meet once a month, either by Zoom or in person, and we discuss any of our books, anything that's coming up, and if we need help with anything, we ask the other authors to help us, and they're willing to help you, like with it, to read a story, to be a beta reader or editors, because we have everyone in this group. And we do workshops of how to, different kind of workshops. And it's been a blessing and they all become my friends. So
How did
it's a great group.
how did you become a member?
Well, you have to be a member from the Horror Writers Association, the whole association. It's a worldwide association, and you become a member. There's qualifications that you need to meet in order to be a member as an author. You could also be a member as not an author, but that's a different type of membership. And then being part of that the association, then you could join local chapters of association like other states have. Maybe New England has one, California has one, and Florida has their own. And I'm from Florida, so I'm obviously on the Florida chapter.
And now that 2025 is fastly ending, we're in November already. I don't know how we got here, man, but it was fast. And
Yes.
we talked about some of the events that you did this year, especially Fright Reads in Maryland. Do you have anything else coming up for the rest of this year?
No, not this year, but I do have AuthorCon 6. It's a convention in Williamsburg, Virginia, and that's February 27th, I believe, to March 1st. So that will be, and it's going to be my first time there. There's over 200 authors, and I'm very excited to be on that one.
Excellent. That's a very well attended one. I've heard about it. I've had a few friends go down there. They always have a great time, and between meeting new people and networking and meeting new fans, it's always a great thing for anybody to be there. I highly recommend it. And for the listeners of Bonus Overdrive Wednesday that want to learn more about you and your books, and of course the upcoming Zombie Mom 2, if possible, where can they find out?
Well, they could find out at my website, Eddie Jose Morales, all one word, .com. So they could go there. They could find me on Instagram. It's Eddie J. Morales on Instagram. And also on Facebook. So I have a Facebook page, Eddie J. Morales, author, on Facebook. And they could find out about my next book, which is coming out in next October, Dreaded Tales 3. So that's the next one. And after that, I'm starting the outline for Zombie Mom 2. That one won't come out until 2027.
Well, excellent. Well, you mentioned Dreaded Tales 3 in October. If you don't mind, I'd love to bring you back, and then we're going to definitely talk about that book, and maybe you can give us a glimpse into the follow-up for Zombie Mom.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Thank you, my friend.
Embrace the spirit of adventure as you join us on this daring journey through the untamed wilderness of Diego the Podcaster's Bonus Overdrive Wednesday. Real people, real stories, really on Wednesday. Available now on YouTube Music.
All content on this broadcast is a property of Diego the Podcaster and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, Diego the Podcaster, or Bonus Overdrive Wednesday. The information shared on Bonus Overdrive Wednesday is provided on an as-is basis, with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.